Yes, people, welcome to LFC Red Forever channel. Oh my goodness, man, it's been a disaster. It's been a disaster. I'm worried now. I'm really worried about our club. I don't know what to say. The players we're linked with, the players we let disappear towards Chelsea as well. We're downgrading at the moment and all that stuff. It's just, it's all over the place. It's all over the place now. But let me bring my partner in crime. Everybody knows who it is, Mr. Harley. Let's bring him in. What's going on, bro?
How are we?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm sweet.
So what do you think of the stuff that's going on at the moment, bro? Are you worried or are you happy?
It depends how you define worried, to be honest with you, mate. Like, am I worried about the signing we're going out to make, and we can touch on that in a minute? No, I'm not. However, am I worried that we still have a lot to do? A little bit, yeah. A little bit.
Yeah, it's hard, bro. It's hard, like to think about what's coming as well, because you know, like we're looking at the actual Twitter, what's going on around there, the players we're looking at and all that. It's just not, we're not too sure, if you know what I mean, and it's worrying from my point of view. And let's just bring them up, and then we could talk about them as we go along. Please, people, if you're watching, hit that subscription button, notification button, like button. You won't get this anywhere else. We are the specialists at this stuff now, me and Harley. We've been doing it for a while, so support us, man. Support us, you know, keep the faith as well. Although our team, our football club, is not where it's supposed to be, I'm hoping I'm hoping we do better very soon in the transfer window. Because who's this player, bro? Like, how do you know about him? I'm sure you looked at him somewhere. Apparently we're moving for him, and he's 30 years old, bro, like from Stuttgart. I'm sure Smacky is the one who's actually trying to get him. So yeah. Wataru is it Endo or something?
Endo.
Yeah.
I'm going to call him Endo, just in case
just call him Endo.
In case there's any confusion between Anderson. I don't want there to be any confusion. And to be honest with you, I don't know how to pronounce his name fully. So if he's watching this for any reason, I apologise. Or if there's any Japanese viewers, I apologise in advance for butchering the fella's name. But
what do you think of him, bro?
In terms of how I know about him, I'd obviously heard of him and seen little bits. But where I really went out of my way to watch him was following the World Cup. Yeah. He played 4 games, 3 start and 1 off the bench. Yeah. He played, and Japan come out with 2 wins, a draw and a loss. That loss was to Costa Rica. The draw was to Croatia, where they got knocked out on penalties, and the wins were against Spain and Germany. In terms of him specifically, where he stood out to me, and I really thought he was excellent, was the match against Germany, which they actually won. Yeah. I thought he was one of the better players on the pitch. And in terms of Schmack, that'll be familiar with him. But I think there might be an element of Klopp in this as well, because he's the Japan captain, he's the Stuttgart captain, and we have lost a lot of experience and leadership. So again, I am absolutely happy with this, as long as he's not the only signing we make. I have to emphasise that, as long as he's not the only signing we make. He's versatile. He's versatile. He can do a shift at centre back. He can play full back. I know his age might be a problem, and I see where people are coming from with that. But he's hard working. He's not played as many minutes as your average kind of 30-year-old has, because you have to think about the context of the Japanese league is not as intense. And with Stuttgart, he's not really particularly been in Europe. Now, last season, he managed to get 5 goals and 5 assists, which is his highest ever goal return in terms of goal contributions. Which 10 goal contributions for a defensive midfielder is not bad at all. He's a threat off set pieces. He's only 5'10", but the amount he can jump is very, very high. He's one of them where he's just a good squad player to have, and I'm absolutely fine with the move. I don't love it, but I certainly don't hate it. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Bring him in. I'm happy with it, but as I say, I don't think this can be the only thing we do, and I'm sure everyone agrees with that. I'm sure people at the club agree with that, and I know you definitely will agree with me as well, Fuzz.
I will agree with you to a certain extent, mate, but I've seen my club cheat me before, if you know what I mean. We've seen us like linked with a lot of players because of the reasons. I'll give you why. We missed out on the targets that we want this summer, which are obviously the two that's gone to Chelsea. We don't want to name them a lot, but you know, Lavia and Caicedo. Yeah. So when you like scout players, look at them thoroughly. What they do off the pitch, what they do on the pitch, what they do, you know, in their, like in their personal life, like how do they treat others as well, and things like that. And you opt to go to those players, and all of a sudden those two players reject you. They go to a team that's not even ready. Let's be honest, Chelsea are not ready. The managers just come in. It's going to take them probably 3 to 4 years to even compete. You could buy the best players in the world. We've seen Chelsea do that before with De Bruyne, Salah, all these players in the past in one team, and Lukaku, of course, and didn't gel well. And if you haven't got a plan in place and you just buy it for sake of buying, and if you haven't got like a formation in place as well, and you don't know where to put the players, then you're going to make a lot of mistakes. So that's what happened with that team. We nearly lost the likes of Salah and De Bruyne into the wilderness because Man City saved them and Liverpool saved the other one. So unfortunately, we rectified that. But it's sad in a way, like we lost to those two players in regards to our strength and depth. We looked at the bench over the weekend. The bench wasn't even there, bro. There was no one in there. Let's just be honest. Youngsters.
We had to put the young lad, on the bench.
Yeah.
Connell was on the bench. And look, he's impressed me this pre-season, but I think he needs a little bit more time to settle in with the under-21s, and maybe a loan can boost his profile a little bit. He's someone you don't want to be seeing regularly on the bench. Maybe for a European game where you've got a large bench. Maybe give him some minutes in a European game as well. I'm not against that, but no, I agree. The depth wasn't quite there. Thiago and Bacchetta's injuries certainly don't help. Yeah. But even with those two fully fit, you're probably thinking we can add a bit more. And to be honest, those lack of numbers is another reason why I'm content for this to happen. And I know what you're saying about like what plays like off the pitch as well. By all accounts, from German,
which by the way, which takes them time. You know what I mean? Liverpool to decide to buy players, so they must have checked on Lavia and Caicedo before they went for them. What they did on the pitch and off the pitch and all that stuff. So it takes a few months, because we already tried to get Caicedo a year ago, as I remember. And I think Brighton put him up for like 75 million, and Liverpool didn't want to go up that high. So we have chased these type of players before, and we already knew about them. What worries me in this situation is, mate, like, are we going into a player that's 30 years old, by the way, people, 30 years old, and it's a stopgap until January, until we like find the right players that's gonna come in. That's what worries me. And I've seen our owners let us down like that before and get the backing on top of that because of what they did. You know what I mean? But what you need to understand, bro, if we go for this and this is the only player, there's gonna be outrage. Like even the fans that support FSG, I think they're gonna turn on them as well. That's the last thing you want to do. You know what they say? Liverpool fans are the worst fans you could mess about with. And if you mess about with them and they don't agree with you, you're going to be in deep, deep trouble. That's what worries me about this situation we're in right now, brother. I know you see the optimistic side of it, you see the good side of it, but I've seen the bad side of it as well, bro. A 30-year-old that plays for Stuttgart, Smacker is obviously the recruitment guy for us. And they probably said the owners probably told him, we might need a stopgap here, like get a player in that's gonna help us out until January. And that's how I see it so far. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they got another player in mind and one or two that's gonna come in. But that's how I see it so far, and I'm worried about it, bro.
Yeah, that's understandable. Again, we might have we agree on some things and might have different views on this particular aspect. I can't help but be drawn to something you said in the previous sentence, though, about again how players are off the pitch. By all accounts, he's a consummate professional. He's captains his club and country. So I like that aspect of it. I really do. Again, we circle back to this. We probably do need to bring someone else in on top of this. I'd like to think that this is more than just a stopgap. Maybe it's a stopgap in a certain sense, but maybe it's one to just get the numbers up. He can't be the only player we bring in, surely. So, like, that would be insanity to me. And again, that's not against the player.
That's the last question I want to ask you. Like, have they? Sorry, before you go on, have they even decided how much they're paying for this guy? Because he's got 1 year left on his contract.
Not true yet, mate. All I know is he's got 1 year left on his deal. The player really wants to move. Apparently, I've seen this on Twitter. It might not be true. I'm hearing he's a boyhood Liverpool supporter, so that's nice for him. Honestly, do you know what he reminds me of? Based off the very little I've seen, and I will admit it's only a handful of games. He reminds me a lot of Lucas Leiva.
Oh, that doesn't help me, man, in a way.
Really?
Well, yeah, because when we were looking at Lucas Leiva, I think he was too young anyway. He was one of the best midfielders in Brazil. He was scoring a lot of goals, attacking midfielder. And then he came to Liverpool, and he wasn't the player we expected. You know what I mean?
I'm basing him off the Liverpool Lucas Leiva, mate. I'm basing him off that. The one that isn't flashy, isn't amazing, solid squad player. We'll get stuck in. We'll do the dirty work. A squad player. That's what I'm looking at. That's the style of player I think he is. Not maybe the Lucas Leiva.
The reliable one. The reliable one. You're saying,
yeah. I'm talking about that Lucas Leiva from probably around the early 2000s, who come in 7 out of 10 performance most weeks. Do the job.
So let me ask you this question before we move on from this. Please, people, there's about 18 of you. Please hit that like button for us. It helps us around YouTube trending, like everybody can see us as well. And if you're new, please subscribe as well. Like we always say, we're consistent on this channel. We're gonna keep bringing it more or less every day. I'm trying my best. Harley's trying his best. The team is trying their best as well. It's tough to do this, but we're bringing it as much as we can. Say this is a stopgap. How would you feel about it?
So a stopgap is in, he is the only player we sign. Yeah, is that what you mean? Yes. That'd be a disappointment.
So what would you think towards the manager and owners? Like, what do you want to ask them questions why they did this, or like how would you feel? Because I know you're optimistic majority of the time. I understand everybody is like each to their own. What would you feel? What would you say like to the owners if you had an opportunity? Like,
I want to know why this has happened the way it has. I'd want to know why we've gone from 115 million being put on the table, to barely spending a fraction of it, only spending a fraction of it. I'd really want to know why that's happened. I'd be asking questions, not only the ownership. I think it's not entirely fair to point at all at the ownership when they've shown the intent of breaking a British transfer record. I know it didn't go through, but still, I'd be looking at what have the recruitment team seen here that has made them think that there's no kind of way to go out and get someone. Like, even I've seen us linked to other players as well who would probably be more established. We'll move on to them. But in terms of this specific signing, in isolation, it's absolutely fine. But in seeing the overall picture, that's a different discussion, isn't it? I'd like to think that this is more than just Schmachter going, oh, we are. I fancied this player for no particular. I'd like to think that the recruitment team have been consulted, Klopp's been consulted, and this is a data-based Moneyball signing, because I have no problem with the occasional Moneyball signings. In fact, we probably built a lot off the back of that, didn't we? With the likes of the Andy Robertsons. Do you know what? I'm not going to pretend I remember the signing happening, because I don't. But I think of the comparison of bringing in Gary McAllister from Coventry. And I wonder if maybe there's a similar element to that. But it really does remind me of an early Klopp kind, or a middle of Klopp's run kind of signing, where I'd like to think it's being based off data and it's kind of being done in the sense that we feel we can get a player of this quality for a much lower price. Like a totally under the radar, because no one had this player on the radar. I've not seen one person on Twitter suggest them. I've not heard one Liverpool fan suggest it. I've not seen any of these ITK accounts, any of these journalists. No one, apart from the club themselves, had a Scooby-Doo that this was going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I agree with you. If this is the only signing, then I could see us like waiting until January to make another signing. But there's more speculations. There's more players we're looking at from what I've heard. Let's hope we can get them as well. Let me read the comments before we move on. I'll call him. AA says Liverpool submit formal bid to sign Japanese midfielder Wataru Endo, permanent deal. Yes, it could be. Listen, I could be wrong, guys. Like, don't take my word as your bond. You know what I mean? Like, don't take that as what is going to happen. It could be like we need another experienced midfielder with a young midfielder. That could happen. That could happen. So think about it that way as well. But yeah, that's all I've got to say about this player. I'm worried. He's 30 years old. Is it a stopgap or is it going to be an experience with a young player? That's what I want to know. Let me read the next comment because I normally go through comments in it. And big up, by the way, AA. Thanks for coming on, brother. C-Joy, one of the regulars in the old days. I don't get it from Caicedo to Lavia to Endo. I don't get it either, bro. But we've got to see what the manager and the staff is all about because they've got to fix this. We're embarrassing at the moment, C-Joy. We're embarrassing, brother. We've got to fix this situation we're in. You know what I mean? The disrespect towards the fans, towards the club, towards everybody around it is out of this world at the moment, and we can't come back from it. We've got to take it on the chin. We've got to laugh about it one day and then move on. You know what I mean? That's what we've got to do. Selena says, hi, bro. Big up, big up, big up, big up. Big up. You sure? Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure what I think. I don't really lie about that. Who is your 30? Who is 30 years old? The player, Wataru. That's the player we're going for. Apparently, we've submitted a bid for him. We want to get him. He's about 30 years old, bro. So we have to wait and see what's going to happen. But get busy in the chat, people. You know what I mean? There's 70 of you watching. Obviously, there's a lot of other channels doing things like that. What we're doing is understandable. You know what I mean? Everybody goes through channels. But yeah, hit that like button. Hit that like button. So let's move on to this player. How do you say his name again, Harley?
Cheick Doucouré.
Cheick Doucouré, yes. 50 million. Originally, Crystal Palace wanted him for 75, something like that, along those lines. And Liverpool managed to bring it down to 50 million. So what do you think about Cheick Doucouré? Do you think like this is the type of player that we need? Is it exciting? Is he going to be the replacement for the Bias we lost, or is he going to be like someone that's going to be here for a short term till we get the right Bias?
I think he's very exciting, and I think he can be our long-term defensive midfield option.
Yeah, I
really do.
Why is that?
Because my reasoning behind that is, first of all, let's look at the age. 23 years old, yeah, and he's just won Crystal Palace's Player of the Season, and that is around players like Wilfried Zaha, Eze, Elise. You know, these Elise's off to Chelsea, so you know these players are really high quality players, and a lot of the time they'd leave big gaps of space by the two midfielders advancing forward a bit. Yeah. So he'd have a lot to deal with, and he would still, despite those kind of structural problems, come out as the Player of the Season. For me, his ceiling's ridiculous. His ability to pass the ball forward is excellent. His reading of the game, excellent. 50 million is worth it. If and I don't know how reliable the 50 million report is, but
apparently it's reliable, because if you think about it, we was chasing him before we opted for Caicedo and Lavia. He was the one. What was that price?
50 million. Then that is an amazing deal. Honestly, I would be at a point now where I wouldn't be against paying over the odds for him. I hope no one from Crystal Palace is listening to me there, because they'll probably put the price up by double, won't they? But no, in all seriousness, I think he's the best option that's still available on the market, and I think I'm not going going to say he's going to be better than Caicedo, but I definitely think he'll have more of an immediate impact than Lavia would have, because he has experience. But I see Lens as well. His role was a little bit different there. He was still defensive minded, but someone who looked to be box to box a little bit more, would look to be a bit more progressive. I'd like to think he'd be somewhere in between where he was for Lens and what he is for Palace, for us. I'm really excited by the idea of this player. I think he is the midfielder out there that could change us into a title challenging team. I think he's immense. I think he's absolutely ridiculous. Like, some of the whenever I watched him for Crystal Palace last season, I watched him in quite a few games, specifically against us. Excellent. Just always looking to play forward, but when he can't, he knows when it's time to not. I think he had something like an 89% pass accuracy in the Premier League on average.
Wow, that's brilliant.
It's something like that, 88 or 89. Either way, we're talking very, very good numbers here. So his ball retention, his progressive passing, and his general intelligence, ability, his way of shielding the ball, knowing when to play it out to the flanks, knowing what to do and when. I absolutely love the idea of signing him. I absolutely love it.
I think it's brilliant. I honestly think like it's what we need as well in that midfield. I 100% agree with you. He will do the ball retention. He's gonna like go forward with the ball as well as pass the right passes. And these are the type of players we're looking for at the end of the day. I mean, that's what we went for, and they opted to go somewhere else. We'll talk about it another time. The 50 million is a lot of money for Doucouré, in my opinion. But if it's going to bring him through the door and we don't dilly-dally around that transfer, I'm happy with it. But the only thing I'm disappointed with is the player being African. You know what I mean? So in January, if our players go to the AFCON, he's gone. Him and Salah are gone. So we're going to miss a huge part of the team going to the AFCON. And hopefully, touch wood, there's no one injured around that time as well, brother. So that's the thing that gets to me. That's why I've always said we need to avoid African players. Otherwise, we'll be in the mud after that. What do you think of that?
I get that. I understand where we're coming from with that. It's been very, very in the past when we've lost Salah and Mane, and when he's been fit and Naby Keita at the same time, it's not been ideal. I get that. So to lose Salah and him, should we sign him at the same time, isn't great. But I kind of put forward, we're going to get this Wataru Endo in. And so I'm thinking that with him in, he can cover for that. You can have Bichette cover for that, and you can have Thiago cover for that. So it's not as much, it's not as bad of a situation as if we have the players to cover. Where I would be worried is if we didn't have the depth there. It's one of them now as well for me where we can't really afford to kind of turn around and decide, oh, well, because he'll be missing for AFCON, we can't do it. I feel like now we're in a situation where if we want one of the last kind of top level defensive midfielders on the market, I think that's something we just have to deal with. I think Bichette's a more than capable backup. I think when Thiago's fit, he'll be more than capable. And I think Wataru Endo as well, based off the very little I've seen of him, can come in and do a good job as well. So I'm not too worried. But I can definitely see where you're coming from with that issue.
100%, bro. Like, it is worrying. That's why we try to avoid African players, because I'm African myself. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to criticize. They need to push on for the sum of these tournaments. It can't be in January every season. That's why a lot of teams don't go for these players. If you know what I mean, guys. Nobody's neglecting the African players. It's because the AFCON is in January. That's the reason. A lot of teams don't go for African players anymore. But I've heard Mali doesn't qualify much for the African nations, so he could be still in Liverpool instead of like going to the African nations. I want him. Like, you convinced me enough to get him. You've watched him thoroughly. You told me about him, like what he does I'm always off the ball kind of guy, Harley. What you do off the ball is the most important thing, and this is what we need to do season in and season out. Off the ball work is important, because that's the thing that leads us to get fear from opponents.
Especially from a defensive midfielder.
There you go, bro. Especially
but he's more than good enough on the ball as well. So if you've got any worries about that, you can put them to bed straight away.
Yeah, I heard he's better possession keeping the Lavia and players like that. But let me read the Man-ish podcast. He says, Caicedo and Lavia were never on our list and our primary targets, bro. Let's be honest. Bro, Caicedo was on our list a year ago, Harley, wasn't it? A year ago at Brighton. It was in the summer, and we was made to wait for January, as I remember as well, mate. So we always had Caicedo on our minds, and we had Lavia. Go on.
We have always been linked since last summer, and I think we possibly looked at him even earlier, because there was Manchester United who were very close to signing him. I read an article, and I'm take it with a pinch of salt because I can't remember the source, but I read an article that again it was his agency, the reason that he only ended up at Brighton when he could have had the ability to end up at Manchester United. So yeah. There is that. I think going to Brighton was good for his long-term development.
Yeah.
And as for Lavia, I just refuse to believe that we would actively bid for the player we didn't want. And the same goes for Caicedo. I just don't. I understand smoke screens. I understand journalists, but making formal bid, you don't make a formal bid for a player you don't actually want. What kind of insanity is that?
It's crazy, mate. I mean, but people, please hit that subscription button, notification bell, but we're on the road to 2,000. We're bringing you obviously a spontaneous stream. We did say to you, we promised you we're going to bring you one today. We'll try it every day on a regular basis as well. Okay, we move on anyway from Doucouré. I hope it's true, because we are desperate for a guy that's going to complement the likes of McAllister and Szoboszlai in that midfield, and Thiago, of course. So we could make our bench even stronger. If you look at the weekend, we had too many kids on the bench. So if we have people coming off the bench that's going to change the game as well as keep the game tight, if we're winning, that'd be beneficial for Liverpool Football Club. And that's what we're looking for in the next couple of days. Well, we've got only a couple of weeks for the transfer window to close. So hopefully they've got a plan in place and we get the signings through the door. That's what I hope. But I can't see it happening, like I said in the beginning. Hence why we signed this, we're going to sign this 30-year-old that's coming through the door, which in my opinion looks like a stopgap. But I could be wrong. So let's move to the next one. Let me show you which the next one is, people. Sorry, yeah. So, okay, primary midfield target, as you can see from David OC, he says, check out Doucouré is a primary target.
Hold on.
What's up?
Wataru Endo to Liverpool. Here we go. Medical test booked on Thursday for Japanese midfielder who's joining from Stuttgart for an 18 million euro fee.
For a 30-year-old? Oh, Lord.
18 million euros. So that is. Let me do the maths on that.
That's something like probably 15 million, probably something.
Yeah, 15 million.
That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. So as you can see on the screen, people, please, hit your comments. I'll read your comments. I mean, I know we ain't got a lot of people. I know everybody else is doing the streams. As you can see on the screen, it says from David OC Cop says, check out Doucouré is a primary midfield target for Liverpool once his fee doesn't become how do you say that? How do you say that? Can't say that word.
Exclusive.
The last word.
Exorbitant.
Yeah, I think that's how I say it. Yeah. So
sorry, I couldn't see what.
It's fine.
Jumped over. I tried to read it too quickly.
I don't want to say something. But So basically, we're trying to get him for 50 million. Let's hope we get him through the door, and then move on from there. Harley gave a good account of him as in regards to being the next midfielder for Liverpool. Let's see what happens, innit? Let's see what happens. But people, go with the chat. There's 18 reviews watching. Please, hit that subscription button, notification button, like button, all that good stuff. So the next one I'm talking about is Amrabat. There's a lot of reports saying in Holland, I've heard, Amrabat is on the way to Liverpool. What do you think of Amrabat if we're stealing from Man United? Is that a coup or not?
I wouldn't mind it. Again, for me, it's a case of I can't see him coming in now that we've got Endo coming in. I think they would have both served a similar job, and that job would be to be sort of a temporary, either a temporary defensive midfielder or someone to get the numbers up. Yeah. I don't think we go for them both because ultimately we just have too many bodies in one position then, and that would leave us with too many to ultimately bring in the man we want.
But Harley, as a player, what do you think of him? You watched him in the World Cup for Morocco.
Yeah.
I thought he was outstanding, but I've seen a lot of players perform in the World Cup and they're outstanding for Liverpool when they come to the team, like El Hadj Diop, Diallo, all these players. They were brilliant in the World Cup. They played for Liverpool. They were players to forget. We don't want them to be part of our history. Is he going to be that type of player, or is he going to make an impact if he comes to Liverpool? And the most important thing here as well, we're going to take him off Man United if it happens as well. Yeah. So isn't that a sweet thing on top of that?
It would be. It certainly would be. And I think he would do a job for us at the very least. At this point, we just need someone who, with enough quality in a specialist role, and I feel as though he has that certain level of quality. Is he the same level of sexy signing as a Doucouré or a Moises Caicedo? No, is the honest and straight up answer to that question.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't despise it. I think he'd do all right for us, and the most importantly, he'd enable the actual quality players. With all due respect to Amrabat, the actual players with great technical quality to come and do what they do, and allow McAllister and Szoboszlai to stop having to worry about what's behind them as much and just play their own game. To me, that's the most important thing. In terms of only performing in the World Cup, I will vouch that whenever I've seen him play in the Conference League last season, particularly in the game against West Ham, I thought he was quite good. I thought he actually controlled the midfield. And
he's a big boy, isn't he? He's a big unit, isn't he? He's not like a small guy. He's a pretty big guy, like, physically.
He's built. He's not the tallest, but he's
muscular wise. Like he could throw himself about. You know what I mean? If you know what I mean. So,
he's he doesn't mind a good slide tackle. He's again for the right amount, like we're probably talking about 30-40 million. It's not the worst thing in the world we could do. I'd much rather him than no one. I think there's better options, but we could certainly do a lot worse. That's my opinion, and I think he's a solid player, not world class, not excellent, but solid. And maybe solid is all we need in the short term. And to be honest, I'd be confident with it. I'd be confident with it. Again, Doucouré is the man I want. I can't make that any more clear.
Yeah,
I can't make that any more clear. But
how about if you get both, Harley? How about if you get both? Like obviously, Amrabat is 26, Doucouré is 23. So isn't that the right ages that you need in that midfield? I mean, like to back each other up and all that stuff. And obviously, with the Japanese player coming in as well. So if you have them three in the midfield, wouldn't it be more secured than normal? And don't forget, I think Doucouré and Amrabat can play at 8 as well as like number 6.
Yeah, Amrabat can play as an 8. I'm not sure how well he'd do in this system, considering that our 8s almost play like 10s.
Yeah.
But it's certainly an idea. I think this Endo as well, he's got a lot of versatility. Yeah. So he could be another one who could do that box to box. He's certainly got the energy for it. But again, in this system where our 8s take up a lot of very advanced spaces, I'd be wondering if we just simply have too many players who can't do what we're trying to do and too many players in the defensive midfield role. So for me, I wouldn't be looking at bringing Amrabat, Doucouré and Endo in. For me, that is overkill. So it'll be one or the other, in my opinion, Amrabat or Doucouré. I look, if there's a world where we want both and we can take both, you won't really hear me complaining. I just think the club will see it in the way of we're stockpiling for the sake of stockpiling. So, and also you have to keep in mind it puts not only it puts a lot of the players who join as well in a position of, well, what's the point in signing me if I'm not going to play, or if I'm not the first choice? So I think this Endo fella will be happy to be a squad player.
Yeah, it's that age, isn't it? We haven't got that experience in that midfield. I mean, like, what is there? McAllister's 24, Szoboszlai's 22.
Thiago's the only
but Thiago's hardly fit. We don't know if he's going to stay fit. That's the thing. I mean, don't put your hopes on Thiago, people. We could finally use him as the luxury player that we want. David O.C. Cop says Dutch outlet AD goes as far as to say that Sofyan Amrabat is expected to join Liverpool in the coming days. If that's true, and we're stealing from Man United, happily hoo! I'll be happy because we're taking him off our rivals. B says Salah to El Etihad. Oh, that's a tough
Not
one, B.
happening.
As a person who's born in Saudi Arabia, I congratulate them for getting the league started again and inviting people to the country. That's brilliant, and they're changing their ways, making sure that people know what they're all about. They're not portrayed as the media says. I'm glad for that. But Salah going, especially when he's just signed a contract recently, to have a legacy at Liverpool as a top scorer, as a legend at Liverpool Football Club. It's a tough one, bro. It's a tough one. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna go. Money talks though. Money talks. Let's just be honest. A lot of players are going to Saudi Arabia for money reasons, and especially when the Saudi Arabians are giving no tax on top of that, they're giving you mansions. You saw Fabinho the other day; he was given a Rolex. You know what I'm saying? So it shows they've been given the heaven and earth at Saudi Arabia, and they want to make their league the Super League eventually. Although a lot of people are talking about the age of the players, yes, a lot of aging players are going down there. That's to promote the actual league. So once the league is promoted, they will invite the younger players after that. So when the younger players come down there, more will come. These people, as we're talking, me and Harley have been talking for 43 minutes. They made already 2 million in their country. That's how rich these people are. You know what I'm saying? So don't underestimate the Saudis. They weasel their way into buying the clubs in this country, and the next step was to make their league even better, which nobody recognized before. Did you know anything about Saudi Arabia league before?
Very little.
There you go. So even Harley, who watches the world of football, who studies football, said the same thing. So now we're all aware of Saudi Arabia league. It's going to come to our TVs very, very soon, which is going to be good for them. And then next step is to get the youngsters over there. You know what I mean? So it's a scary thing for the Premier League because the Premier League hasn't prepared for it. The Premier League, the way it's structured, is corrupt, and it's never going to end anytime soon. The last thing they want to do, the Premier League, is the world to find out how corrupt it is. Because when corruption hits the league and everybody knows about it, we'll end up like the Italian league, and everybody knows what happened to the Italian league. It went from there to there. You know what I mean? When everybody found out the mafia is in charge of it and the corruption was going around, the organizing games, the league just diminished. You know what I mean? Look at Juventus now; they're struggling. Look at AC Milan; they're struggling. Inter Milan; they're struggling. So although we see them in the Champions League final, because that's a one-off. You know what I mean? The Champions League can have a season off sometimes, and this will happen. And Inter Milan managed to find their way to the top. Yeah. So Amrabat, listen, if we're gonna steal him from Man United, I'm happy with that. I ain't complaining. That'd be something that will cheer us up. The smile will come back to our face. You know what I mean? Since we saw a lot of disappointments. You know what I mean? But we'll see. Let's hope something comes out of it, people. The next one is, let's see what's next, Mr. Harley. I think that is it, really. Oh, so we're gonna be talking about this next, people. We're gonna move on from the transfer. Obviously, we already covered the 3 players we're going for. We'll talk about this next, which we didn't cover yesterday, so we're going to cover it today, myself and Harley. So let's do this. Let's do this. So Harley, has Mr. Klopp failed us, bro? Because a lot of people have been saying Klopp has failed us. He can't be trusted, and unfortunately, Mr. Paul Joyce has put out something outrageous. Was it today or yesterday? Today or yesterday, anyway. One of those 2 days, saying Klopp reject a lot of players, especially Enzo Fernandez for 19 million. So 15 million. My bad. So what do you think about these stories that's going around about Klopp, like rejecting players, Harley? And if it's true, what do you think of it?
Again, look.
If it's true, that's what I said.
If it's true, of course, and Joyce is reliable, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and assume that there's a degree of truth in it.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to turn around and say, like, in hindsight, we obviously would have probably gone in and got Enzo Fernandez. What I kind of think, though, is we weren't the only ones who turned them down.
Yeah.
he would have been looked at, sorry, by pretty much all of the big clubs, your Man Cities, your Man Uniteds, your Chelseas, obviously before they've gone and signed him, your Arsenals, all these would have at least been aware of him.
Yeah.
And it was Brighton. He joined, he established himself, and he went for 120 million. You know, fair enough. Fair enough, he's done well. It's a case of, for me, obviously in hindsight, yeah. But I kind of wonder, would he have had the same development at Liverpool as Brighton? Not due to any particular fault of Liverpool, but the game, you've got to think about things like game time. You've got to think about things like, if he wouldn't have been so successful at Brighton, does he get called up to the Argentina squad? And then if he doesn't get called up to the Argentina squad, does he get the move to Chelsea? And does he become as established as he is today? For me, there's a lot of variables that a lot of people aren't considering.
Yeah.
I understand that, again, in hindsight, excellent pickup. Same with Bruno Guimaraes was another one, wasn't it? From Lyon, that we could have got our hands on and missed out on.
Yeah.
Who, again, in hindsight, would have either been, he'd slot straight into our midfield now.
What a player. What a player.
Great, fantastic footballer. But again, my kind of thing is, we aren't the only club who have kind of had this oversight, and these won't be the first players and they won't be the last players that top managers have had either a misjudgment on or simply we haven't had the resources to be able to bring in. Because ultimately, when you're working under our model, it's a lot of the time you don't have that extra wiggle room to go and spend 15 million on a player from South America that isn't established. So, you know, for me, it might not necessarily be Klopp, it might not necessarily be the recruitment team, or if it is, they're just kind of conscious of the fact they have to work with constraints, and they want to be able to pick players up from more established kind of leagues. So that's my take on it. I feel as though a lot of people are really overblowing the whole, we didn't quite get Enzo thing. We didn't quite. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like it's, I understand it's frustrating in hindsight, especially. Yeah. But there's if hindsight's a wonderful thing, ain't it? So that's how I feel about it. Like I don't hold Klopp to kind of.
Yeah, but the thing they're saying about Klopp is he was loyal to the players, Harley, like Henderson and players like that. As we already know, he wanted to give contracts to Firmino and Milner at the end of the season. They both refused. They said, one said, I want to play, and the other said, you know, boss, it's time for me to go, you know what I mean? And that's what happened with Firmino. Milner said he wants to play still at the age of, 37 now. So... Yeah. If a manager is loyal to players, is it a good thing or a bad thing? That's what I want to ask you before we move on from this bit here. Because, you know, with Klopp, the issues he's having at the moment as a top quality manager, to me, he's the best manager in the world currently. Although, like we talk about Pep Guardiola, if you get finance like that, Eddie Howe shows it helps anyone. Eddie Howe ain't a Pep Guardiola. He's not Jurgen Klopp, but he's competing at the top now. Because why? Because he's got money. That's why. It shows it doesn't matter what type of manager you are. It should look like Pellegrini at Man City, won the league. What happened to him at West Ham with that money? He wasn't the same manager. So it shows, like, if you got money, the world's the oyster. So with Klopp, do you think his loyalty is the downside about his managerial skills? Because, you know, like, every manager has to reboot a team, and he struggles to do that because he always thinks about what these players have done for him in the past. And I think he needs to move away from things like that. I want him to be the manager for the next 20 years. Don't get me wrong. But the sentimentality of it, he needs to get rid of that stuff. When players get a certain age, let them have a resale value. If you have a resale value, you'll have a finance coming in. If you have a finance coming in, then you could buy players with that finance. Right or not, Harley? Things like that. That's what he needs to do. But do you think his loyalty is going to be his downside eventually as a manager?
I think you need a middle ground between what would be described as too loyal and what would be described as kind of too ruthless. Because if you've seen managers in the past who've been so kind of ruthless and unable to connect with players, that it's caused the whole dressing room to just crumble. We've seen Mourinho teams like that. As good a manager as Mourinho is and has been over the years.
Yeah.
I understand that there's certain players that we really could have looked to have moved on.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of factors as to why certain things have happened. Like, for example, certain directors of football we've had, such as Michael Edwards, who is so admired by the fan base, and look, he did a lot for us.
Don't talk about him. We're going to talk about Michael Edwards. Don't talk about him.
Okay. It's relevant to the point.
Go on.
He would charge. He wouldn't sell players unless he was getting an immense value for them.
Yeah.
So
100%.
So that was a big reason why certain players like Ox and Keita never went under him. Also injuries as well. You can't sell an injured player. It's like selling a horse with a broken leg.
You can't.
It's not happening. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
As for the Firmino thing, my argument is we got more value out of him by keeping him until the end than we would have by selling him.
Yeah.
And then as for the Milner thing, like, we probably did keep hold of him a bit too long, but he is someone who is extremely. You look at how he is in the dressing room, and how young players look up to him, and all things like that. So again, I understand. To be honest, I think Klopp, when he's been required of him, I think he has been quite, like, such as Dejan Lovren. We saw Dejan Lovren on. We've seen it with Karius in the past. Simon Mignolet. Players like that. There have been players who have been moved on in Klopp's time. And I think we've found ourselves in a situation in the present where the players we've needed to move on, it's not been down to quality. A lot of it's been down to injuries or age. But again, if you can't get a good fee for the player, then I don't see the point in selling them for buttons. I'd rather just get the rest of the value out of them. It's why I'm happy to let Matt leave on a free in the summer. It's why I would have been happy to. Well, we did let Firmino go. That's what I'm getting at. So that's how I see it personally. I think this Klopp loyalty thing is often oversimplified and overstated. He is loyal to his players, don't get me wrong, but ultimately, loyalty has to be a two-way street. And that's
you're right, because you got to think about it. Those players, the season before last, they went for the quad. You didn't expect their performances to drop as bad as it did eventually, did you? No. Any fans that says that, they're lying to you at the end of the day. Let's be honest here, people. Yes, people, there's 25 people watching. Please hit that subscription button, notification button, like button. Please go in the live chat as well. Just talk about what we're talking about. Let us know what you think about Klopp. Is he too loyal? Is it the thing that's gonna detriment his managerial career at Liverpool as well? Because a lot of people are talking about it, and a lot of people are saying about, especially these people. Let me get them on. Let's get back to that. With Michael Edwards, mate, a lot of people are already talking about it. Do you think we'd let him go too early at Liverpool Football Club? Should we fought for him to stay at Liverpool? Should we pay that extra cash for him to stay at Liverpool? I don't know if it was about money with him, because I think he supported Liverpool anyway. So I don't think it's to do with money. I think they might have clashed a lot, him and the manager, hence why he left. Because he probably offered him a lot of players and he refused a lot of players because of the loyalty he has for the current players that's there. You know what I mean? Do we miss him, like as obviously sporting director in regards to recruiting? Or is it like people being sentimental at the moment with Michael Edwards? Have we moved past that?
I think he done some excellent work for us, but a lot of people are overstating it, in my opinion. I feel as though it's kind of a case of when people turn around and they go, well, Edwards left and Ward left, so there's clearly something wrong at the club. My counter-argument to that is, if Liverpool was the problem, rather than the football world being a problem, wouldn't he have gone and found jobs somewhere else by now? Especially Edwards, who's been out of the game for a while. obviously he's done some great work for us.
Yeah.
But you've got to keep in mind that before Klopp came in, we signed some dross. Let's have it completely out there. Like Markovic, who's someone who I ideally wanted to see do well, but ultimately he didn't work out. He objectively didn't work out.
Yeah.
So he's no saint. He's not perfect. He's not infallible. Michael Edwards, despite the great work he did for us.
Yeah.
He chose to leave ultimately. I personally feel, and I can't take credit for this quote because it was someone in our LFC. I think it was No Beats. I think he said Klopp didn't need Edwards to succeed, but Edwards needed Klopp.
Okay.
And I think Edwards. This isn't me knocking Edwards. I think he done a lot of great work for us. But I heard someone say today on a space on Twitter that Michael Edwards was more important for our success than Jurgen Klopp. And that to me is an absolute load of poo.
Michael Edwards was there before Klopp. So I don't know what they're talking about. He was there with Brendan Rodgers. So I don't know what they're talking about.
Our signings on the Rodgers were hit and miss to say the least.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, I think people are blowing things out of proportion. I think like it's crazy. Yeah, they're saying Klopp. I think Michael Edwards is more important than Klopp. I don't understand that. Never understand what people talk about sometimes. It's crazy because you got to look at the reputation of Klopp before he came to Liverpool. What was he doing at Dortmund? He's still till today the only manager to beat Bayern Munich in the last 10 years, maybe more than that. So you got to think about it that way, people. He's done an outstanding job at Dortmund, Mainz, and Liverpool. He's been part of that progression in those teams. So don't undermine Klopp in any other.
I heard someone say again on this very same Twitter space, and it absolutely baffled me that Jurgen Klopp's talent identification apparently is awful. The proof that is a load of poo. Go and look at what he was doing at Dortmund. Go and look at the kind of players he signed and developed.
These are the same players that say Klopp can't work with technical players. And if you look at his whole team at Dortmund, they're all technical, all the way to the goalkeeper. So I don't know what people are talking about. Mate, you need to understand, bro. Like, if people haven't played football, they won't understand. I mean, they won't understand talent. They don't. They just don't. I mean, at least people. Go on.
I'm just going to say it's the same as people who haven't experienced the time with Liverpool before the success, before Klopp. A lot of people who don't have that level of perspective are unable of being able to kind of put into context what life was like before Klopp and how life could be after Klopp as well. Scary
shit, bro. You know what I mean? Like the people that are saying like, get rid of Klopp, who are you going to bring in? When you ask those questions, they get stuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no one better than Klopp, people.
Well, start throwing like the Derby or random shout. I had Pochettino at one point before he went to Chelsea, which is outrageous. Simeone was another one, which is daft. Wow. Those are just a couple of the names I've heard.
That's crazy. We've reached an hour, people. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscription button. We're on the way to 2,000. Thank you for everyone that's joined us, of course, and stayed with us throughout. I hope we broke down some of the barriers in the transfers, and we talked about Klopp that we didn't talk about yesterday. We meant to talk about him yesterday, and Michael Edwards as well. I hope we broke it down to you, and I understand where we're coming from with that. Trudon says the Japanese Mascherano. I don't know, but we'll see. This guy cost 90 million, laughing my ass off, whatever. I don't want to go along with that one, but it's crazy. Trudon is crazy, mate. Like we're paying for a 30-year-old that much, bro. It's crazy. Trudon says, let's be honest here. These are 12/13 Brendan Rodgers level signings. Barini, Asaidi, and Etik. It could be, bro. But if you watched it from the beginning, what I said, this could be a stopgap as well, brother. It could be a stopgap as well. That's what I think probably could happen. Big up, Quasi. We missed you on the show already, bro. You was brilliant yesterday, bro. Thanks for coming on, man. Phenomenal, as always. Smacks the like button, people. Listen to Quasi. It says Japanese international Wataru Endo traveling to Merseyside to finalize 16 million move to Liverpool from Super State, from Stuttgart. Well, what can we do, bro? This is the transfers we're going for at the moment. Hendo left. We got Endo. Jack says that's brilliant. That is brilliant. Yeah, it's like
I said at the start.
the one I saw today is Monts. Go and subscribe to Monts. He killed me. He went there. We missed out on what was it? Lavia, Enzo, and Carcedo. What does that stand for? It's been... Come on, come on.
It's LFC, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
I have to. I said at the start of the show, I'm going to call him Endo instead of Endo until I know how to pronounce his name, just because I don't want to get him confused. Anyone to get confused between him and Henderson. So, especially with my accent.
Yeah. Listen, you're Scouse, man. That's the most important thing, isn't it? It's good. It's good. But yeah, that killed me when he said that. They bought LFC from us. That is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yes, 15 people watching. Thank you very much for coming on. We're coming back tomorrow, of course. Come on, people. Like, you know, Liverpool, LRFC, we're a team here. We're a family here. You know what I mean? So nothing will ever change. We're going to keep bringing the content out for you guys as we promised. And Harley, are you back tomorrow?
I am.
Yes. That's brilliant.
What are we doing tomorrow?
Oh, I like that one. Let's see what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this. There you go, bro. We're gonna preview the Bournemouth game at Anfield, which you are. Where are you going?
Be there. I'll be there.
We're gonna be standing.
Cop, block 104.
There you go. There you go, people.
Awesome for it, mate.
He's looking forward to it. He's looking forward to the first game at Anfield this season. Obviously, the newsstand ain't finished yet, but I'm going to be standing there sometime this season as well. Bought tickets to go to Liverpool to watch them, which I said I'm not going to do. But at the end of the day, I support the football club. I don't support the owners. So the football club is my club. So I need to go back and support them, support the lads, if you know what I mean. So we're back tomorrow, people. As you can see, the preview show will be back tomorrow. Please subscribe. As it says on that screen, we're heading towards 2,000. And we're going to be doing these shows night, day, anytime. We've got a team here that's, you know, from America, the team here from England. And we're going to hopefully go other places as well. So this channel continues on a regular basis all around the world. Just to build it, innit? We need a channel like this, innit, Harley?
100%. International correspondent, a lot of it, mate.
Yeah.
Keep it up there. I'm absolutely loving the work we're doing, and I'm loving to see the growth and progression of the channel. So
yeah, before you go, people, just do this for us, and we really appreciate that as well. Thank you for tuning in, Harley. Other than obviously LRFC, let me put your name up. Where can people find you that haven't seen you before?
If you've not seen me before and you want to listen to the things I've got to say, you're more than welcome to come and follow me on Twitter. Has LFC97. It's right. Oh yeah. Where are we?
There you go. There, down. There you go.
You're more than welcome to come follow me. But the most important thing to do is subscribe to our channel. Like, subscribe, notifications on, a lot of it, because we've got a lot coming up for you. A lot of great lads and very, very intelligent and informed Liverpool supporters will be coming and giving you content. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that, because it's going to be good.
Spot on, Mr. Harley. You're a legend in this channel, man. You helped me grow this channel like no other, man. I can't believe it. Please go and follow Harley. If you want to speak to him, he's on Twitter at how you say it? At HazLFC97. That's where he is. If you want to chat to him like in a private, like in regards about Liverpool, ask him questions like what's next for Liverpool or concerns about Liverpool in general, go to him and ask him, and he will deliver the messages to you. I've got my own private channel, which is called private profile in Twitter, which is called at Fozzy79. Liverpool, follow me on there. Empire of the Cop, follow me on there. All the Liverpool people actually follow me on there as well. So go and please follow me on there if you want to see my tweets, which is pretty wild. Let me just put it that way. I get a lot of response on them. Yes, so we'll be back tomorrow, same time, 9 o'clock with the crew. We're going to do the preview for the Bournemouth game. So please tune in. We will promote that one. We haven't promoted this one, believe it or not. We've done nothing. We just put this out, me and Harley, and good turnout. Great. I mean, although the majority have left, but we've still got 12 people watching. Thank you very much. Please go subscribe to these people as well. It's not all about us. There's other channels, people that come on this channel and help us out as well. Please go and subscribe to them. One of them was on the chat today. As you can see, at Liverpool 12 man. Go and subscribe to him. Klopp Talk TV, added one of the best, what do you call it, content creators I've seen, young content creators I've ever seen. Believe it or not, I'm not even lying. As well as Harley, of course, but Harley's with us, so we'll keep Harley. Alid is with us as well. And then you got LVFC TV, Baz, wonderful guy, one of the best. Always helps us out in the channel. Go and subscribe to this guy as well. And you got Uncle Rods. You see him on this channel on a regular basis. I'll go on his channel as well. He's our uncle, man. He's our leader, and he can be positive. He could be in between. He could be negative, but he's true to himself, and you like that on his channel. Go and subscribe. Nurabits, the analyzing man. He's got his own channel, but you're gonna see him on Grizz's channel. But he's gonna be part of this channel. We recruited him on our channel as well. So please go and follow him on Twitter and follow him on his YouTube channel as well. Quasi, as you saw him in the messages, he's trying to build his channel big time. And he's got great chat shows on there. So please go down there and subscribe to him. He does a preview show, review show. He does a chat shows. And hopefully he'll bring some more things in the future as well. So go subscribe to him as well if you're watching this back and you're watching that right now. With me, I'm out. I need to have a rest. My eyes are red. As you can see, I'm doing this for you people. You know what I mean? So like, share, subscribe. As I always say, let's build this channel. Let's get to 2,000 as soon as possible.
The dedication is unbelievable.
Yes, I'll see you soon. Take care, everybody.